What's up, YouTube? Army Vet Trucker here. Kinda got a weird angle here. Let's see what we can do about this. Alright. We'll call this the relaxed video. So, I'm in my bunk because the truck's idling because it's kind of hot in here, so it puts a weird vibration on the camera. So I moved to the back of the truck where I have another mount for my phone. So, yeah, so I'm back here. Alright, so this is part 2 of the video that I released earlier today on Monday. And I don't know if it's going to upload today or not. My internet's getting kind of slow around here. More trucks are starting to show up. It's towards the end of the day and starting the new week after the long holiday. So, before I did a pros list for being over the road, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the cons list. I'm going to try to keep it short as best as possible. I didn't do so well with the last one. There's just a lot to talk about. So, let's go ahead and start off the list. First one on the list is time away from home. So, a big con for a lot of people, and sometimes including myself, is the time that's spent away from home. You spend a lot of time on the road. The longer you're out, the more money you make. Because you have less, because whenever you're not home, you're not making any money. When the wheels are not running, you're not making money. That's another con that we'll get to in a second here. But, so time away from home. So, I go out from 3.5 to 4 weeks at a time, and I get 6 days off whenever I go home. There's a breakdown for 12 days out, 2 days off, 18 days out, 5 days off, 21 days out, 6 days off. So, I like to stay out for about 3.5 weeks. To get full advantage of making the most pay that I can before being home for 6 days. And I've recently found out that I need to be home on a Wednesday and leave out on a Tuesday. Meaning that coming home on a Wednesday, so my time off starts on Thursday, and then I leave out on Tuesday of the following week. So that way I put myself in the middle of 2 different pay periods. That way I don't have a whole pay period without a paycheck. This is both beneficial and at the same time makes it a little bit hard because you're looking at half paychecks at that point, depending on how the runs work and stuff. So, yeah, you know, so just really you have to pay attention to when you're home and how your pay scenarios, you know, pays out, what days it pays out, and how your runs are going to work. But, so yeah, so when I get home, I'm spending 6 days. I'm trying to optimize my time between friends, family, and doing stuff around the house. So normally during the day, during the week when my wife is working, I'm doing stuff around the house. I need to get caught up on whatever projects I need to do, whatever that needs to be done that my wife doesn't take care of while I'm on the road. And then when she comes off of work, then it's all focused on her, and then she's off on the weekend. So the weekend that I'm home, it's just us doing stuff together. It's you know, it's prioritizing that way because we don't get to see each other that much. So that's just how I do it. Some people do it differently. Once again, talking in my pros, if you're a single person, you know, then it's a little bit easier because you don't really have to worry about balancing out your time so much in that aspect. Now, when you add kids into the mix, it just gets even more of a pain. So, time away from home is definitely a con. Weight gain. So those of you who have been following me, I lost 35 pounds being on the Dollar General count. Now, I am still on the Dollar General count in the Surge Fleet, but right now, I'm just doing brokered loads, so I'm not as active as I was. So what I've started doing is, well, on top of watching what I eat, I try to get in some cardio every day. Yesterday, I went for a walk / jog, run. I can't really run too much. I got a bad knee from the military, so impact is really hard on me. But nonetheless, I made the best of it. I did power walking mixed in with a little bit of sprint jogging, I guess you could say. And then some jumping jacks and some, you know, knee bends, not knee bends, but some lunges and stuff like that. Modified lunges so that way I don't put the pressure on my knee. But, yeah, that's what I did to help combat the potential of gaining back the weight that I've already lost. So it's a constant weight battle. A lot of truckers out there are very heavy, overweight, and stuff like that. And they're fine with that, and that's completely their choice. But you as a driver need to decide what you want to do. You don't have to gain the weight. You don't have to eat unhealthy all the time. You don't have to be lazy. You can get out there. You can do stuff. You get looked at in the truck stop. Every time I do it, I get looked at the truck stop too. Like, what is this guy doing? Is he doing exercise? Oh, man. I wouldn't be doing that because everyone has their different goals in life. I don't want to become a stereotypical overweight trucker that is so big you have to order your clothes. It's not me. It's not what I want to do. I want to stay in shape. So weight gain is a big thing whenever you're running over the road. Next one is long hours. When I'm driving, when I'm doing broker loads, I drive between 9 to 10 hours, and then I'm looking for a place to shut down for the night, because as you will find out on the road, it's very hard to find a place to shut down at night during a regular work week, because there's lots of truckers out there that drive during the day and not at night. If you're driving at night, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to find it, because when you're coming in off the road at night, everybody's hitting the road for the day, so you get to shut down stuff like that. But parts of being, nighttime driving versus daytime driving is nighttime can be more dangerous. Dealing with animals and stuff like that, drivers that fall asleep behind the wheel, things like that. And then during the day, you're sleeping when the sun is up, so you're regulating your body differently. And sometimes, depending on how well you can seal your truck off, depends on how much light you can actually keep out of your cab. So yeah, that's a couple different things. That's a whole nother story anyway. So depending on it, you're working long hours. When I'm working on Dollar General, I'm doing every bit of 14-hour days, because I'm unloading my trailers and I'm trying to move as much as I can to be able to pick up my next trailer, because I might do 3 stops on a trailer, get the trailer done, get back to the DC. Only been working 6 hours, but I'm going to pick up another trailer, head to my next stop. If I can deliver early, it's going to happen. 14-hour days. That's the one thing about it. When you're just straight driving, 11 hours, not including your breaks and stuff like that, if you can push it out completely. So it's long days, longer than normal, and you're dealing with just the fatigue of driving and everything like that. So long days is definitely a con on the driving over the road. Next is dealing with major cities. So I was born in Ocala, Florida, which when I was born was a really small town. Now it's a pretty big town, but it keeps growing. But anyways, so I didn't really grow up in a big, huge city. I've been to big cities like Orlando and Tampa and stuff like that, and Jacksonville and stuff, and Gainesville. But, major cities where either I visited them as a kid and that was about it. And when I was in the military, I got to see some really big cities and stuff like that, but the driving experience in them was usually limited. But being over the road, I've driven in Chicago, New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Raleigh, Springfield. I could go on and on. I've driven a lot of places, big cities and stuff like that. Worst so far would be New York City, followed by Chicago. New York City with a 53-foot trailer is one of the most stressful things you will ever do, and I've done it 3 times now, and it is a whole nother beast. So major city driving is, if you're not used to it, and just because you drive a car in it does not mean you're used to it. Driving a car versus driving a 70-foot plus vehicle is completely a different ballgame, and you got to deal with low bridges, underpasses, winding up on the wrong street. Happened to me once. Luckily, it was early enough in the morning. I was able to maneuver around and get out of there. It happens. You can make one wrong turn, find yourself in the wrong place. Just major cities is a whole other thing, and then you got rush hour on top of it and tons of traffic and everything like that. So yeah, rush hour is definitely, major cities is definitely a con. When you're not moving, you're not making money when you're driving over the road. If those wheels are not turning, you're not making money, whether you're on a dedicated count or not. It all depends on if your truck is moving. So your resets, you're not making money. Like right now, I got two and a half days I'm shut down because it falls on a holiday weekend and my delivery isn't until Tuesday. So I'm not making money at this point. Luckily, I have a run that I've already done in this pay period, and this won't wind up on my pay period, so I'll be good to go. But it would have been nice to be able to deliver this on Friday, or say on Saturday, and being able to pick up another load Monday and start heading out, staying ahead of the curve. So, that's a downside right there. Resets over the road. I've covered it a couple times now already. You're spending 34 hours somewhere doing nothing. You can't run off recaps forever. Some people do it and some people can, but you're not going to be able to, because you're going to eventually, the equation that figures out your time of being able to run a recaps is eventually going to run out of time. So you have to do resets. So you're spending 34 hours somewhere where you're not from. Depending on how you are, if you're trying to save money or something like that. Like me, I don't like spending a lot of money going out and doing things, so I don't wind up doing that a lot. So, it's one thing you got to keep in mind. You're doing resets. Next is the weather. Once again, I was born and raised in Florida. had very low, very seldom interactions with snow or anything like that. In the military, I saw the most snow out of anything. Dealt with a lot of extreme cold, extreme weather, driving military vehicles and stuff like that, so I had a little bit of upper edge when I got into this, but nothing like that would have been able to prepare me for driving a vehicle weighing 77,000 pounds plus in a snowstorm that comes out of nowhere, never mentioned anything on the Weather Channel, and out of nowhere, boom, you get hit and the road's icing over. You got to find a place to shut down quick and safely. So weather is a big thing. I've driven everything from tornado gust winds to blizzards, so you got to know when to shut down when you're not comfortable driving and stuff like that. So weather is definitely a big thing, and it can change on you at any minute. It's hard for the family. Whether this isn't so much for you single people out there, but for those of you that have a family that have not used to it and you're thinking about getting into trucking. For me and my wife, it was a big adjustment. Yes, we're both ex-military, but we met in the military back when we were both getting ready to get out of the military, and we've been together since then, and we've kind of gotten used to being with each other all the time. So me going over the road was a big adjustment for both of us, and it still is to this day an adjustment, and just having to learn and figure out ways around things and stuff like that. You know, it can cause all kinds of stresses that are unbelievable, so it's something that you need to be prepared for. If anybody out there, you know, looking to get into this, you just need to know that it sounds good on paper or in theory when you talk about it with your wife, and they might be all for it, but when you get out there on the road and you're not home and they have to start taking care of things that you normally do, or you know, holding up the household, or just dealing with you being gone, yes, the money is nice, but sometimes the toll on the family is very, very hard. So keep that in mind. You got to talk it through and make sure you have a backup plan in case you get into this industry and it just isn't working out and it's putting too much stress on you. So have a backup plan. All right, next one would be interaction from other drivers. Now, I put this as a pro on the other one, but this is a con on this one. There are a lot of negative drivers out there. A lot of drivers that don't want to see us new age drivers, and I say new age as anyone that has started driving within the last year and a half, on the road because they feel like we're taking their jobs. The industry's growing. Trucks are hitting more and more trucks are on the road. A lot of people are scared of self-driving trucks in the future, but trust me, that's a video from another time. That will be many, many, many years in the future before that could ever become a reality, and there's plenty of proof behind that. But anyway, so back to what I was saying. Interaction with other drivers can be a bad thing because a lot of them are going to blame you as a driver for the company you work for. I get it all the time. You're working for Warner. Oh, mega company. Because of them, we have e-logs. Because of this, because of that. Well, get this in your mind. If you are a seasoned driver watching this, and I have no problem saying this because I ain't scared of none of you, but I will let you know this. E-logs happen because drivers were driving dirty. By dirty, I mean they were cooking their logbooks so they could drive more hours. I got it. The longer you drive, the more loads you pull, the more money you get. Who's to say that anyone couldn't run through the temptation of not doing that? I get it. E-logs were started by Warner and has become the thing now, and it's getting hard for old-time truck drivers to get used to it. They're easy. They do their thing. Yes, they limit you because they keep you within the boundaries of the law. The law is the law. You have no control over it. If drivers in the past wouldn't have abused what they had, then the e-log epidemic going on right now between drivers of the old days and drivers of the new days would not be going on. Okay, e-logs are here, and they're here to stay, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it. There's no protesting or anything you can do. They're there to regulate you and keep you from being used by your company and by your broker to make sure you're operating within safe hours and not overrunning yourself. And they're there to make sure that you yourself don't overrun yourself, so get used to them. They're changing again. I'm having a hard time adjusting to them because I learned how to do my e-logs on the last edition of the e-log system. There's a new one coming out, and it's coming soon. I got to get used to it because it works a little bit differently. It's happening. You have to change with times. It's called adapting with times. You can't blame new drivers for the company that they drive for things that were affected by drivers of past. So that's just the way it is. So unfortunately, you just got to kind of adapt with the times. For you new drivers, learn the e-logs, learn how they work. They work very well, and like I said, they keep the companies from overworking you, and they keep you yourself from overworking yourself, which then turns into fatigue driving, falling asleep behind the wheel, causing major accidents and killing people. It happens still to this day from people not abiding by the laws put in place. Some of them don't make sense. Some of them I do not agree with, but they are a law, and that's what you have to deal with. So learn your e-log system and learn what the driving laws are so that way you're not driving fatigued. All right, next one. Maybe I'll do a whole video on that one because that gets me really heated every time. Depending on brokers to get you loads. See, now I work for Warner. Now Warner is a mega carrier, and I work on the surge fleet, but my dispatcher does not have no surge work for me, so he is dealing with a third-party broker. You have to depend on brokers when you're running over the road. If you're just running haul, if you're not on a dedicated account, brokers can aggravate you. I deal with them all the time. I am not the person that contacts the brokers, but sometimes whenever it's after hours, I have to be the one to contact the brokers. And all the brokers care is that you made it on time, you picked up the load, it's going to be there on time. They don't care if you're stuck there because they're not loading it quick enough or whatever. They'll say they're going to help you out, but they never do. The only time a broker comes in handy is whenever they've overloaded you and you need to go back and you cannot get a hold of them to see if they're still there. Brokers come in handy then, because brokers don't want you running overweight, because then they, it's a whole ordeal. Because first off, I'm not going to run overweight. So, yeah, depending on brokers, like right now, the biggest reason why I'm waiting so long is it's the only run that they had. They had no other runs on their boards that they could go and give me or anything like that had more mileage. Because I could have done run out to the West Coast and done like 2,000 miles in all this time that I had. But hey, it is what it is. I got the load that I got. So yeah, you're dealing with brokers that can be a con in very many ways. I wrote down downtime. That kind of goes into your resets. So downtime, I would say, would consider is not so much a reset. So I've already done my 34-hour reset, but now I'm in downtime. So that means that I'm not rolling because I can't have nothing to roll with because my delivery isn't until tomorrow. So I'm pretty much just sitting here twiddling my thumbs making YouTube videos. So with that being said, you have to accommodate for downtime. It's going to happen. Whether you're breaking down, you're stuck at a broker or a load, you're stuck at a shipper or a consignee. It's happened to me before when you're sitting there. You get there on your time. You're on time. You've made it there in the allotted time that they needed you there. And yet they're going to punish you by making you wait because they scheduled 14 other trucks to come into a place that has 6 docks. It happens. That's your downtime. You're just sitting there waiting, whatever. You're in the sleeper berth, whatever, waiting to get called. Got to adjust for it. It's another con of the road. But that's all I got for this video on the cons. This is part 2. I might make a 3, I might make a 4, I might make a 1.5. I don't know. I'm going to continue to add to the list as I see fit of things that aggravate me with driving over the road and things that I like with driving over the road. So if you have any questions, comments, or anything, go ahead and hit me up down below. If you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I'm trying to grow my channel, get a little bit better at this. It's still new to me, and I'm enjoying it, so I'm going to try to keep pushing content. I might be bringing another channel in too, so it's a fun time. I'm out there to help you guys out getting into the industry, and like I said, any questions, go ahead and hit me up down below, and I'll do my best to get to them. Sometimes when I'm driving, I just forget to check on my YouTube, so work with me. All right, y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy your time. Hope you enjoyed your long weekend. See you on the road. Army Vet Trucker out.